Thank you, Mr. Moore. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Hawaii, Mr. Case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Maury, I am reading from the Department of Energy's June 2020 report on Runit Dome, and I'm just going to quote here. The main risk posed by the dome will be derived from the flow of contaminated groundwater from beneath the containment structure into the local marine environment. To date, there is no data to suggest that the dome, or more specifically, the radioactive material encapsulated there, is currently having a measurable adverse effect on the surrounding environment. I'm unclear from this. Is there in fact leakage from the dome into the groundwater underneath it that you have determined that thus far that leakage does not produce any harmful measurable impact, or is there no leakage from the dome and that is residual groundwater underneath the dome from prior radioactive exposure, or do you not know? Which of those three is it?
Well, I think what we have to assume is based on the linkage between the tide rising, the tide going down, and what we're seeing with levels inside the dome, that there is some leakage occurring with the dome. How much, we don't know.
Okay, so your working assumption is it is leaking because you do detect some radioactive exposure. You're just saying that as a matter of scale, it's not at the level that you consider to be a concern at the moment. Is that right?
I would say part of the problem is that the level in the lagoons is not changing. So
okay, so
if there is leakage coming out of Runit Dome, contaminated leakage coming out of Runit Dome and going into the lagoon, it's being masked.
Okay, and you are saying that you have concluded that basically your monitoring regime is not adequate to really fully answer the questions that I'm asking, and you want to step that up, and you want to accelerate and implement your groundwater radioactive analysis program, right? And the 2 boreholes that you tried were not sufficient for that, and so you have to ramp it up. Is that right?
That is correct, and that's why we have been working with the Department of Interior, and why they have been agreeable and provided us additional funding to put that program in place.
Okay, and here's an observation from me. It doesn't feel like this is a priority. Like I would be, if I was uncertain as to whether and to what extent there was in fact leakage into the underlying groundwater and that dispersing out into the broader environment, that would be top of mind. I see in your report that you have various reasons for why you haven't been able to pull it off, including mobilization. But in all honesty, I struggle to understand why you can't overcome the logistical concerns, given the possibility that there is in fact a substantial level of leakage that we just haven't detected yet. I mean, you've got Kwajalein right there. You've got, I assume we can cut through the COVID-19, restrictions at this point. You appear to have funding. How do you accelerate this so that we can actually just get some scientific answers to determine what to do next?
Well, I don't want to give the impression that this is not one of our highest priorities, because we have people working on this all the time. The COVID restrictions are real. I mean, they have been established to protect the citizens of the Republic of Marshall Islands, and we respect that, and so we have not been able to get out to the island.
How many people do you need to actually go out there and test?
A lot's going to depend on what we get back. Well, to test or to do our drilling program. I mean, there's no real way to just test and drop a borehole into the ground. It's going to take a drilling process to get them down. I
do understand that. So I'm not downplaying the logistical challenges of mobilizing in the Pacific. I was just on Wake Island a few weeks ago and got that in spades. But as my time is expiring, I would invite the folks that do actually represent the Marshall Islands to comment on how we accelerate and remove any restrictions on getting these tests in place in the event that the United States feels that there is, any complications in terms of getting the two governments to agree on how to deal with COVID-19 and other logistical challenges. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we would welcome that.